Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Casey. Today we're going to talk about a new chapter and how does our past impact our future. Okay, so let's get started by talking about what we will cover in today's lesson. We're going to talk about what and why we learn from the past. How are the past and the present connected to each other? We're going to talk about vocabulary related to today's virus pandemic and also how that pandemic is connected to both the past and the present and the future. And we will learn to analyze interactions, okay, to help understand better when you're reading. We will talk about what that means to analyze interactions. We will also practice reading about a journey to a new place and discover why people sometimes need to leave their homes to begin a new life. There could be many reasons for this. We'll talk about that towards the end of the lesson. So, at the beginning, here we go. So why do we study the past? Okay, on page 172, 173 in your book, you'll see this big, beautiful picture. What are we looking at? What do we see in this picture? Okay, the first thing you notice in the front of the picture, okay, is that we have an ancient temple. This is in Greece, and the temple was built to honor the Greek god Apollo. Okay, but we also see in the background a very modern city, a modern Greek city. Okay, so why do these things go together? Okay, and how does our past impact our future? How are these things connected together? Okay, so let's talk about that. How does our past impact our future? Okay, one reason that we study the past is we want to remember important cultures. Okay, the ancient Greeks gave us many things in terms of their gods and the great stories that they told, in terms of language, okay, stories that we still tell today. It's the same thing here in Vietnam. We have stories that help us understand who we are as Vietnamese. Okay, there are great stories that help us take our culture, okay, from the past and make it part of our present and our future. That's why we study the past. Okay? Another reason is that we want to celebrate art and beauty that we have created over many, many centuries of humans and our civilizations together. Okay? But the most important reason that we study the past is that we learn from our mistakes. Do we make mistakes? Yes. Can we learn from them? Yes. I hope so that we can have a better tomorrow. Okay? Later I will ask you if you have some more ideas on your own of why we study the past and how our past impacts our future. Next, let's talk about the past first. What we're facing today is not the first time this happened. 100 years ago, okay, there was a flu. They called it the Spanish flu. It began in 1918, and for 2 years, it spread around the world. 500 million people around the world were infected with this flu, and there were 50 million deaths all around the world. This is not the first time we've had this problem before. Again, the past, right, tells us about the present and the future. Did we learn anything from the Spanish flu outbreak in 1918? Yes, there are two very important things that we learned. One, if we stop people from traveling, it helped to stop the spread of the disease around the world. So we stopped people from traveling. Number two, we learned that face masks helped to stop the spread of disease. So that's why today we cannot go outside unless we wear a face mask. We learned this 100 years ago, and it helped us to stop the spread of our COVID-19 virus today. So, next step. We talked at the beginning about analyzing interactions. Before we talk about this, let's talk about those two words. Okay, first one is analyze. Your turn. Analyze. Good. Okay, you can see at the bottom here, analyze means to study something closely. Okay, and then the next word is interaction. One more time. interaction. Okay, an interaction, an action is something that we do. An inter, okay, means between people or between things. So interaction is an action between people or things. Okay, so if you look here, it says to analyze interactions to improve your reading. Okay, the first paragraph says, writers use different ways to show how ideas, individuals, and events in a text are related. You can analyze the interaction among these elements to help you better understand the text. And interaction is the action or influence of people, groups, or things on one another. Okay, so how it works. Before you read, preview the text to figure out the topic. We will do this in 1 minute, okay? Look for clues about individuals, events, and ideas that may be important to understanding the topic, okay? One of those is cause and effect, okay? The writer can show interactions within the text to use cause and effect relationships. Cause and effect can show how individuals, ideas, and events influence each other. Okay, so we study the examples of cause and effects in the passage, okay, in what we're reading. That will help us to understand the reading. Look for signal words that show the impact individuals had on other individuals and events. Okay, so let's read this example here. It's called Coming to America. In the 1600s, many people came to North America. Their arrival caused problems for Native Americans who already lived there. Some of the people were sick when they arrived, so the Native Americans also got sick. As a result, many Native Americans died. Okay, I'm going to ask you in a minute about the cause and effect. Okay, and you see there it says this was another pandemic. In the 1600s, there were 50 to 70 million natives in the Americas that died because Europeans brought diseases that they had never seen before, like smallpox and the measles. Okay, this was in your history book, as I'm sure you remember, in Connect with History 8. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a minute. Next is, instead of cause and effect, we have a sequence of events. Okay, it says sometimes analyzing the order in which things happen in a text, okay, sequence, order of things happening, can help you better understand how individuals and ideas influence that order. Watch for time words to help you figure out what happens when. Okay, so we see some common time words: after, during, finally, first, later, next. Okay, so let's read this one and then we'll ask some questions. Okay, a traveler's journal. On January 15th, 1645, my youngest sister turned 5 and was now old enough to make the journey from Europe to North America. We arrived early at the dock to board a huge ship. Families with young children boarded first. The journey was not easy. During our trip, water and food were limited. After sailing many weeks, we were happy to spot land. Finally, our journey at sea was over and our new life could begin. Okay, so now let's analyze the interactions, okay, in Coming to America and A Traveler's Journal and answer some questions. Okay, here we go. First question. Why did the Native Americans get sick? There was a cause and an effect. Okay, because some of the people coming there were already sick. The Europeans brought disease. The Native Americans could not fight the disease. Many got sick and many died. Cause and effect. Okay, and in the second one, okay, A Traveler's Journal. Why did the family in A Traveler's Journal wait until 1645 to travel from Europe to North America? Give you 1 minute to think about that one. The answer is because the youngest sister wasn't old enough to make the journey. Okay, when she was 5 years old, then she was old enough to make the journey. Okay, that's why they waited. One more question. Why wasn't their journey from Europe to North America easy? Remember, this is 1645. Again, if you want to pause the video and go back to the story for a minute, go ahead. Okay, so the journey wasn't easy because water and food were limited, and they sailed for many weeks without seeing land. Okay, that's why the journey wasn't easy. Okay, very good job. This is how we analyze interactions so we understand more about the reading. Okay, so those two short paragraphs were about reasons for moving to start a new life. So the next question is, why would someone leave their home? Okay, there are negative reasons why you would leave your home. There are positive reasons why you would leave your home. Again, pause the video for a minute and write down what you think are 1 or 2 or 3 positive reasons to leave your home and negative reasons to leave your home to start a new life. Okay, here are some negative reasons why people leave to start a new life. 1, disease, like we're facing right now. Okay, there are diseases that make people have to leave their homes. War is another reason why people have to leave. Drought. Let me say that one more time. Drought. You can repeat that one after me. Drought. Drought means no water. Right now we have a drought in the Mekong Delta, which means we don't have enough water to grow rice. And so we need it to rain today. Okay? And then the next one is famine. Your turn. Famine. Okay? Famine means we don't have enough food. Again, if we don't have water, we don't have food, we can't live. So we must move to a new place to start a new life. Okay? Here are some positive reasons. Okay? One is new land. Many people moved to the Americas because there was lots of land, and they wanted to have new land. Jobs. Okay? People move to a new place to get a new job. Opportunity. Okay? And money, the biggest one. Lots of people leave to start a new life because they want money. So, let's go try and use these skills, okay? This story is called The Lotus Seed, and in your book, on page 184 to 193, you will see the whole story, okay? I want to just go through a little bit of the story using the tools that we've already learned today, and I will ask you later to try and read the rest of the story. So, this is the story, okay? Before we read, we always set a purpose. Why are we reading this story? The purpose for us to read this story is to find out why the woman in the story must begin a new life. Okay? So here's the first part of the story. Okay, and here are your instructions. I want you to pause the video. I want you to read this short passage from the story, okay? And I want you to define the highlighted words in your notebook, the ones that are highlighted and the ones that are in bold, okay? And I want you to see if you know the definition of those words. Then, use your analysis skills to guess why this woman needs to begin a new life. We don't know for sure. This is only a small piece of the story, okay? But maybe, right, you can use your analysis skills to take a guess. I'll give you 3 minutes to pause the video and do this. Okay, so first, the highlighted words. Okay, emperor, emperor. Your turn, emperor. Good. Emperor is a kind of leader. Okay, different name for a king or a ruler. Okay, many different names for somebody who is the leader. Okay, the next one is throne. Your turn. Throne. Good. Okay. Throne is a seat or chair for a emperor or someone who is a leader. They normally have a very important chair because they're an important person. Okay. The next one, remember. Your turn. Remember. Good. Okay. Remember is to think of something again. Okay. And the last one is special. Special. Okay. So special is something that is unusual or favored, okay, like a favorite. The other words that we have there, imperial, 4 syllables, imperial. Good. This means something that is royal or special only to the emperor or the king. Okay. Next one is altar. Altar. An altar is a special table. Many of us have one in our homes in Vietnam to celebrate our ancestors, the people that came before us. Okay? And then the other one, I think you know. The story talks about an ao dai, okay, traditional Vietnamese clothing. Now, next, the more important question. The reason that we read, okay, and the reason I want you to read the rest of the story, why does this woman need to leave her home to begin a new life? What do you think? Okay, we'll talk more about that next week. So here is some homework for you to work on, okay, before we talk next time. Okay, we talked about how the past impacts the future and why we study the past. Okay, so if you could write down 3 more reasons in your notebook why the past impacts the future and why we study the past, and we will review that next time. Okay. Next, the story, The Lotus Seed, on page 184 to 193. Okay, write new words into your notebook and then analyze the interactions in the story, like we just learned, to understand why the woman needs to begin a new life. Okay, analyzing the interactions helps you to understand the heart of the story. Why is the story written? Okay, what is important to the woman in the story? And then third, see if you can find more English words in the news, okay, or talking with your friends and family about the COVID-19 virus and our worldwide pandemic, so we can learn more about how to talk about what's happening in the world today. Again, the past, the present, the future are all connected together, and so we want to understand those things. Okay, thank you very much. We will see you again.